from last topic. I'll let you ask it.
All right, Sammy, and I think our fan base might have some mixed reactions on this, but do Jerry Dipoto and Scott Servais deserve more of the blame for what's going on with the Seattle Mariners team this season?
I'm gonna leave Scott out of this for a second because now this, if a baseball junkie hears this, probably not gonna love this comment, but I don't like to put that much blame on the manager because at the end of the day, the guys on the field have to hit, and if the guys in the field aren't hitting, I'm also gonna put that more towards the rest of the coaching staff, like hitting coaches and the GM who signed these guys and thought he was the guy that was going to help us. Yes, you can say maybe Scott's benched Kelnick against lefties a couple too many times, even though he's been hitting good against him. But, like, what's his other options right now, right? Put in more A.J. Pollock or put in more Wong? I just don't know what else. I don't know how much more he can do. I don't think anything in his coaching philosophy changed to make Julio go from a 280 hitter to a 230 hitter, right? So
Yeah,
that's where I struggle with managers in baseball because there's not many plays like in football or basketball, right? And it's like a guy's doing one thing 4 times a game. That's it.
Yeah,
so
but
it's kind of hard.
We've seen like teams like the Boston Red Sox get rid of Alex Cora for a year because he had his thing, have a bad year. They come back, same team. They're good. We saw the coach of the manager of the Blue Jays last year came in mid-season, turned that whole entire team around. I think sometimes like motivation could play an aspect out of it. I'm not saying Scott doesn't motivate the players or anything like that. I'm not in that dugout, but I don't know. They're just like something seems stale. It's been so many years with him with one playoff appearance. I like Scott Servais, though. I do. I like
only playoff appearance in 21 years.
Yeah, but I like Scott Servais, so I have trouble blaming Scott Servais. But at some point, you got to look at the manager and you got to look at the GM, and I think Dipoto deserves some more blame.
Yeah, that's where that's what my whole point was. Is it's about Dipoto because of the moves. The AJ Pollock move, on paper looks okay. Wasn't that exciting, and it's turned out even less than what it looked like on paper. And same with Wong. Same with Hernandez. It's turned out less than what you would expect it on paper, even though it was like decently exciting. So I'm looking more at Jerry, I think. And you got to remember,
we're looking at you, Jerry.
He is the reason Scott Servais is the manager. They were teammates. They're buddies. He wasn't a manager getting jobs in this league.
Yeah, they're married to each other.
Yeah, so I think they stay and they go together. I would like to see a little more fire out of Scott. Like, I tweeted a video yesterday on Mariners on Tap.
Lloyd McKinnon.
Yeah, Lloyd McClendon.
Clendon, sorry.
Lloyd McClendon. Like, backing up Mike Zunino on when he was arguing, came out, kicked his own hat. When he got kicked out, he made go every single ump and yell at them before he left. That shit sparks a team. Last year, our winning streak came from when Jesse Winker came in and tried to knock a guy out.
Exactly.
And then there was a brawl, and then we had some suspensions, and somehow we went on a 14-game winning streak. Sometimes you need some emotion.
So maybe we should throw at someone's head.
No, maybe somebody needs to when they get thrown at. Throwing at someone's head I don't think causes good emotion. I think somebody needs to throw at us, get pissed, attack.
Charge the mound, attack, throw shit, break shit. I don't know what he says in the dugout. Maybe he is a yeller, screamer, and he's different like when he is on TV. But you're right. I need to see some spark, some emotion. Lou Piniella, our whole fan base loves Lou Piniella. He was the biggest fucking hothead you could possibly imagine. He used to throw shit, break shit, just the raw emotion. And you're right. I don't always see that out of Scott.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Scott's like in the dugout for the most part from just like what people say too. He's a cool, calm, and collected guy. So like, I'm pretty sure he's nothing like Lou Piniella in the dugout. I'm pretty sure he's not that aggressive even during a losing streak. I'm not saying he does nothing or doesn't get emotional, but we know he's not the most like outwardly pissed off type of guy.
I wouldn't really describe him as fiery.
He's not fiery at all. But once again, I don't know how much of a manager change is going to help if whatever. If
I don't want to see it. But by the way, I don't want to see a manager change.
I'd only want to see it if it's like we're bringing in Joe Madden or something, like somebody that's won World Series, and it's like, wow, what a move.
What a move. But then he went, like he's bombed at places too.
I don't count the Angels for anything because
everyone bombs on the
two best players in baseball, and they came, and no matter the manager, they can't make the playoffs.
That's so sad for them.
So like, I don't know if that's a Joe Madden problem because he's also gone and won World Series.
Absolutely.
So no hate to Joe Madden, but also no hate to Dipoto and Scott because once again, everything we're talking about, George, is very based on if things continue to go bad. And there is a chance, as we saw last year, as you see in baseball every single year, there is a chance that things turn around and aren't bad.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm kind of leaning towards the
That's
hope
what
right
I'm
now.
hoping. My hope.
I don't think you can fire your manager or your GM halfway into a season the year after you made it out of the wild card round. Like, they did win a playoff series last year too. So it's not like they went to the playoffs, got swept, it was over. Like, they were competing in the playoffs. They went into deep inning games with the World Series champions. It'd be a pretty shocking move to me if we made a change right now.
Couldn't agree more.
That's all we got for Mariners today?
That's it. That's the M's. Turn it around, baby.
That's the M's. If you're listening, I haven't decided what we're doing with our feeds yet, so I'm just going to say it on the pod, though. We might have a Mariners feed by itself that people just like Mariners, and a Seahawks feed by itself. But most likely you're listening to the full version of the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. The second half of this podcast, after this segment, is a Seahawks segment, so stay tuned. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, the good old Seahawks, George. Before you even get into your first question, I'm just going to have one comment, and one comment only.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is even a topic on the podcast about the throwback jerseys. Is it
It's not.
Okay. They announced today, Week 8, a 1 o'clock game against the Cleveland Browns. I know it's a money move because the NFL probably doesn't want them to do it on, like, the Thanksgiving game because then, like, there's no extra appeal for the Browns Week 8. But I'm a little disappointed it's just Week 8 against the Browns. I thought they'd wear it more than once. They're only wearing it once, Week 8, 1 o'clock game. I really would have loved to see San Francisco wear their all-white, like, kind of throwback ones.
I love
with
those.
the Seahawks blue and silver helmets on Thanksgiving. I think that would have been a great showcase, or at least do it both those times. That's my only comment. I'm obviously excited for those jerseys. I think they're better than our main jerseys right now with the silver helmets and everything. But I'm just disappointed it only happened once.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love the jerseys, but I kind of feel like I really don't like our main jerseys very much, so I'm with you. I wish they would go with those ones, but Week 8, feels a little like deflating.
Yeah, like Week 8 against the Browns. Come on. Like, do it against the 49ers.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
But here's my question for you, Sammy, today. So reports are that Russell Wilson basically vetoed a trade, would not waive his no-trade clause to the Eagles. There was a deal done with the Eagles. He got traded through the Broncos. We
And
know
the
rest
Commanders.
And the Commanders. We know the rest of his story. Jalen Hurts would be our quarterback, most likely, or have competition with Geno Smith. Would you have rather seen that package come back to us, get Jalen Hurts and whatever the Eagles were going to offer us, or are you happy with the Broncos trade? Which one would you have rather seen?
I have a feeling. I've been trying to deep read into this because there's no definitive answer. I've tried to see from the Adam Schefter tweets. I've read a lot of articles. Some people are saying that Jalen Hurts was not part of the trade. Some are saying he probably would have been. And I don't know which one's true because you don't know, like, it is at the time, he was just a young quarterback. Like, I don't know if they were planning on keeping him behind him and doing a lot of draft picks. Like, obviously, we all thought wrong when we thought Drew Lock was an important part of the trade, trying to get a young quarterback. So it could have been the same thing with Jalen Hurts, but maybe even the Eagles said, no Jalen Hurts in there.
Well, let's assume Jalen Hurts was in there. Like, that makes this way more fun and a whole different story because then all of a sudden Jalen Hurts is not like that MVP candidate, or maybe he was with the Seahawks. But on the Eagles, it would be a whole different story, right? With Jalen Hurts on the team.
Yes.
We don't know if Geno would have had his chance. We really don't know anything.
We don't know anything is a problem.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two is Jalen Hurts would have required a $242 million contract, whatever it is, right? It's like a Lamar Jackson contract. Yeah. While Geno was $105 million. We wouldn't end up with Tariq Woolen, who was a top 5 to 7 corner in the NFL last year. We wouldn't have ended up with Charles Cross for the offensive line. We wouldn't have had the 9th pick from the Broncos. We wouldn't have the 5th pick this year for Devin Witherspoon.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what the Eagles would have done with Russ. We might have had the 3rd pick.
I mean, that team is much better than the Broncos.
Yeah,
That'd be shocking if they were. There's no. I see no. This is why I actually like the Broncos trade more, and obviously hindsight is 2020, right? But like, you have to take into factor like what team Russ got traded to. That Broncos team was struggling for 4 or 5 years. That Eagles team was stacking up the roster, and we don't even know how good Russell Wilson was sick when he was the low-paid quarterback with a bunch of great build rosters.
Right.
So is Jalen Hurts. I don't know what Jalen Hurts' next 5 years is going to look like. And now he might be great. He looked great last year. But I'm just saying Jalen Hurts was very much in the Russell Wilson situation these last couple of years where it was a young, extremely built well team. So that I would be extremely shocked if that Eagles team with Russell Wilson was not a playoff team, because I don't think Russell Wilson's as bad as he showed last year.
Me
I
either.
think that's a big, the big part of it is the Broncos were not very good, which is why they were the 9th pick when we got the pick last year, and that's why they're the 5th pick when we got the pick this year. So I'm not sure. Now, obviously, it's so easy to say, well, if the Eagles trade out Jalen Hurts, we'd have Jalen Hurts, and like Jalen Hurts went to the Super Bowl.
Right. That's why it's more fun to assume that Jalen Hurts is on the trade. It's like more fun.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stick to the idea of I love what happened with our trade.
Me too. I don't think there could have been a better scenario.
Exactly how I see it. We ended up with Devin Witherspoon. We ended up with like just look at our draft last year. Everything in your draft would be different just based on one pick being different, right?
Of course.
So like we ended up with Charles Cross, Tariq Woolen, Kenneth Walker. This year we ended up with Devin Witherspoons of the world. We got a center. We got Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then we got Geno Smith, who played at a high level and got his contract at a way cheaper price, half the price, actually almost like 60% less than Jalen Hurts, almost 50%,
Yeah.
more than 50%. Jalen Hurts is like $240 million. Geno's like 105.
Yeah, so way less.
Yeah, so it's so hard to look and be like, wow, that trade could have been any better, because I don't know if there's ever been as successful of a trade for like one player in the NFL history.
Right. No, I would never. I would not get rid of that trade for any reason. So my thing is whether or not you think about Jalen Hurts. That this trade we had is the best trade ever.
Yeah, and now, like I said, with Jalen Hurts, you never know. I would be like, holy shit, we have Jalen Hurts, and he's like in his 20s. But I just don't think the rest of the roster would be the same, and I don't know if. I just don't think this 1 year quick rebuild into a playoff team would have been as successful.
I agree.
Off right out of the gates. So I'm going to stick with, because this trade went practically perfect. It's really hard to say a trade would have been better. Now, if last year we were 7 and how many games are there now? Jesus, 7 and 9 team.
Yeah, 7 and 10.
7 and 10 team. This whole conversation would be different. Even if Geno played well, we'd be like, oh, the team's not very good. But we made the playoffs, so it's really easy to mask any deficiencies we had last year and say the trade was amazing.
That's how I feel. Exactly how I feel.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with the Broncos trade.
Same here.
Because couldn't go any better. Thank you, Broncos.